We are witnessing one of the greatest financial market crashes in history right now, Michael Snyder reports. History is starting to repeat itself. In 2008, bond prices crashed before stock prices did. Here in 2023, bond prices are crashing again. In fact, we're currently witnessing one of the greatest financial crashes in the U.S. history at this moment. And of course, most Americans have absolutely no idea that this is happening. Most Americans don't know anything about the bond crash that's causing a tremendous amount of fear in the financial community right now, and that is because the big news networks are not talking about it too much, but this is serious. Since the peak of the market, 10-year bonds are down 46%, and 30-year bonds are down 53%. Losses on longer-dated treasuries are beginning to rival some of the most notorious market meltdowns in U.S. history. Bonds maturing in 10 years or more have slumped 46% since peaking in March 2020, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. That's just shy of the 49% plunge in the U.S. stocks in the aftermath of the dot-com bust at the turn of the century. The rout in 30-year bonds has been even worse, tumbling 53%, nearing the 57% slump in equities during the depths of the financial crisis. We have not seen anything like this in many years. As bond yields go up, bond prices go down. And the last time the yield on 10% bonds rose to this level was just before the 2008 financial crisis. At the center of the storm is a 10-year Treasury yield, one of the most influential numbers in finance. The yield, which represents borrowing costs for issuers of bonds, has climbed steadily in recent weeks and reached 4.8% on Tuesday, a level last seen just before the 2008 financial crisis. We're witnessing the exact same pattern that we witnessed in 2008 and during other financial panics. Bond crash first and then stocks crash later. I have warned over and over again that high interest rates were going to have an absolutely devastating impact on our system, and now it's starting to happen. Our banks are going to be in so much trouble. They were already sitting on hundreds of billions of dollars in unrealized losses, and the spike in bond yields in recent weeks has pushed that number even higher. Meanwhile, mortgage rates continue to soar. Freddie Mac's latest primary mortgage market survey released Thursday shows the average rate of the benchmark 30-year fixed-rate mortgage jumped to 7.49%, up from 7.31% last week and from 6.66% a year ago. The rate for a 15-year mortgage also climbed, averaging 6.78% after coming in last week at 6.72%. 1 year ago, the rate on a 15-year fixed mortgage note averaged 5.9%. These high rates are absolutely paralyzing the housing market. Millions of potential buyers have been forced to the sidelines because high rates have made housing unaffordable in 99% of all U.S. counties. Housing prices are growing more unaffordable even with the astronomical rise in mortgage rates, putting ownership out of reach for millions of Americans. That's according to a new report published by real estate data provider Atom, which estimates 572 U.S. counties and determined that median home prices in 99% of those areas are out of reach for the average income earner, who makes about $71,214 annually. The latest trend continues a 2-year pattern of home ownership getting more and more difficult for average U.S. wage earners, the report said. The home prices that we are seeing today are absolutely insane. Recently, a 565 square foot house in West Hollywood sold for a whopping $1.1 million. A miniature home in Los Angeles' West Hollywood neighborhood recently sold for a whopping $1.1 million, despite only offering 565 square feet inside. The 1924 Craftsman bungalow, settling on a 2,240 square foot lot, is tucked away behind a row of hedges and located just across the street from a fire station. I couldn't imagine paying that much for a glorified closet, but apparently someone out there had money to burn. And of course, most homes are not selling at this point. In fact, sales of existing homes have fallen by about a third over the past year. So something has got to give. Either the Federal Reserve has got to dramatically reduce interest rates or home prices have got to fall. And the Federal Reserve is not planning to reduce interest rates anytime soon. Unfortunately, Fed officials keep talking about the possibility of raising them even higher. So a lot more pain is coming and the American people are getting restless. If you can believe it, a recent Rasmussen survey discovered that more than half of U.S. adults believe that we will experience another Great Depression within the next few years. Despite claims by President Joe Biden about the strength of America's economy, most Americans still think we are headed towards another Great Depression. The latest Rasmussen reports national telephone and online survey finds that 52% of American adults believe it's likely that over the next few years, the United States will enter a 1930s-like depression, including 21% who say a major depression is very likely. 36% don't think another Great Depression is likely over the next few years, including 11% who say it's not at all likely, and another 11% are not sure. Even though they may not understand the specifics, most Americans can feel that something has gone horribly wrong. But things did not have to turn out this way. You see, the truth is that we did not learn our lessons from the last financial crisis. Instead of fixing the system, we created bubbles that were even bigger. And now that bonds have crashed, it's just a matter of time before stocks crash too, and we're headed for economic meltdown of epic proportions. The months and years ahead are going to be incredibly challenging. So I hope that you have been preparing for difficult times, because the nightmare that many of us have been warning about has already begun. This is by Michael Snyder, and he says about the author, "My name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled End Times is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 6 other books that are available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, commissions earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so that you won't miss any of my articles. I've published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the most important news. And the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I also freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times, and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. This is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.